Fun fact, Amerie's label wouldn't put out one thing, so she leaked it, and it became a massive hit. Play the music! Baby. Welcome to Open Mic Podcast. I'm your host, Jamal Raheem. Now, Open Mic is a podcast you can find everywhere you get podcasts, but you can also watch it on YouTube if you're one of the visual people like myself. Now, in this episode, we are talking about R&B, whether it's toxic. We're giving our Mount Rushmores. We're going to pivot off and get into some vinyl talk. This episode is featuring two people who I respect their music opinion so much. It's Kendall and Autumn. Now, Kendall, you can find him on TikTok. He be hosting these lives where he's just playing music, having great music conversation. Like when I have a long day at work, I look forward to these conversations. I look forward to the lives, you know what I'm saying? I got put onto some electronic music, and I don't really listen to electronic. So follow Kendall, and also it's featuring Autumn. Autumn always has a good take on hip-hop subjects. Always a good take on R&B subject. One of the main reasons why I wanted to get her on this episode talking about R&B is because of that. You know what I'm saying? She's a big Kendrick Lamar fan. She still owes me a Dougie, but all that talking, we're just going to get right into it. Now, I am shooting this on my computer because for some reason, when I try to use Zoom on my phone, it won't let me record. So I am shooting it on my computer so the quality won't look the same. But without further ado, we're just going to get right into this episode. Peace out, y'all. Welcome to Open Mic. I'm your host, Jamal Raheem, and I'm with my two guests. We have Autumn and Kendall in here. Both of them I found off of TikTok. They got some great content. I'm going to put all their information in there. Follow both of them. So we're going to talk about R&B on this episode. We're going to talk about whether R&B is toxic. Usher claiming he created toxic R&B, which... okay. And we're just going to see where the conversation goes. So what do y'all think about the whole thing of R&B being toxic and not about love anymore?
I'll go first. I think R&B is still about love. It's just toxic form of love, which most people will argue like that's not love if it's toxic or whatever. Like people like Brent Faiyaz, like he kind of is taking R&B direction of the toxicity. I can say the same thing about Future when he does R&B. So it's just like it is taking away the original message. If you look back, 70s, 80s, 90s, like yeah, there's themes about love, but there's also themes about cheating, infidelity, any of all those things. So those things are considered toxic too. So I wouldn't say that R&B is toxic now and it never has been, because R&B has always had toxic elements. It's always had love elements. It's roughly the same, I would say, honestly. It's just nowadays it's kind of more outright.
Yeah, there's a branding behind it, like what Autumn said. I mean, you go back to them 60s and 70s, man. Like these older people want to have us fooled. Like they was just singing about love and innocence and joy and togetherness and caring. Man, you better do your research on David Ruffin. You better do your research on James Brown. Marvin Gaye too. Marvin. Like but the thing is about now compared to then, I think now it's like the R&B artists kind of like are doing it and they like accept it. They accept the toxicity, they accept that role. Before, they were doing it and the music would be completely different. You know what I'm saying? The music would just be like very like, um very like just like an immaculate feel. Like it was very like innocent. There was a lot of innocence to it. Now it's like they accept the role of like, hey, I'm the bad guy and I'm gonna accept me being the bad guy.
Yeah, I think now they're more vulgar. Like they not hiding it with like sweet little like words. Like they're saying, I'm gonna cheat on you, you ain't ish, basically. That's what I think is the difference. Like, cause even like what's that one song? Before I Let Go, that is not no happy song. If you listen to like the lyrics,
Uh,
like
yeah,
it ain't happy. If
it's
you,
like
I
when
might
people
have to
make
listen
pretty
to it.
wings.
huh?
When people do pretty wings at their weddings,
Pretty Wings isn't a happy song either.
like it just doesn't make any sense. And that's why I hate when people say stuff like that because it's just like you're not even listening to what you're consuming. It's always been the same. Trust me. It's just like Kendall said. It just sounds better, and it doesn't. It sounds so innocent and it sounds so sweet and cuddly, but they saying the same things. It's
Exactly the
just
same thing.
masked differently now.
It's
So
funny. It's funny because Black people always like take the original message of a song and make it their own message. Like the Donny Hathaway song, "Someday We'll All Be Free." People thinking that's a song about civil rights liberation and um, being lifted by the man. That's about mental freedom. That man was going through mental. He had schizophrenia. He was talking about that, and Black people are just like, oh, they always play that as like a Black liberation, we shall overcome song. I'm like, you know what, you Black people.
I don't know. It's just people just don't listen to what they're consuming, and I feel like it goes for all genres, but specifically hip hop and R&B. Like Kendall said, like people just take what they listen to a song and then they just put their own definition to it without actually looking to see what the song is actually about. So yeah, like I can see why people think R&B is toxic, but it's always been that. It's always
Yeah.
had that part of it, depending on who you're listening to, of course. So
I think you can also hide like the beat of a song can hide like what the damn song's about. Like now it's like all these songs are like trap beats. So it's like you can't really hide what they're saying. Like back in the day, these songs were like even like the 2000s, like "Hey Ya" by Outkast.
yeah,
He ain't saying nothing nice about that girl whatsoever. He just wants to smash. Is basically what he's saying. Like, but the beat is catchy and everything about it is catchy. His lyrics is basically pointing at us, like, so y'all not even paying attention. Y'all just want to have fun and dance. Like, go ahead, go do that.
Mhm.
So you can hide a lot, hide a lot. But all right, let's move to Usher saying he created toxic R&B. Usher, I ain't gonna lie, he been on my shit list for a little too long. He been messing it up for me because I love Confessions too much. But what do you think about him saying he created toxic R&B?
for Usher to be at the top of like the R&B spectrum, for him to say something like that is irresponsible in my opinion, because just like okay, how can someone of your caliber genuinely think that? Because to me it's like when you're an artist, I would assume that you listen to the artists that come before you. I feel like that's only natural and that's only right. So it's like for him to say something like that is crazy. And then two, like did he ever say like what album he's talking about? Because even then, like for Confessions, like yeah, there's some toxic stuff on there, but it's not even his story. It's Jermaine Dupri's
Oh
story. So
yeah,
it's like
that's a good point.
what
He been
album
like
are
that.
you referring to? Like you're
Well,
not even talking about your own self.
he can go back. All his stuff is pretty toxic. Like My Way is pretty toxic, but I don't think he created it. I think
But
it
it's
was
just like you know, you did not create toxic R&B. I can name multiple songs that have toxic elements in it before Usher was even like on the scene.
yes, the fact.
So it just doesn't make sense for him to say something like that.
Mhm.
I agree. I think he's out of his mind to just jump out there like that. I don't know. I think honestly, I
Who
think
would y'all say like prior to Usher were like big players in that wave? Who would you say?
I would say Bobby Womack, definitely. Um, Marvin Gaye, even he got some songs. There's a lot of people. I would say most of the '90s R&B, if we're gonna be honest, there's a lot of songs that people are toxic. Like Whitney got one, SWV got
Oh
one.
yeah, they was like SWV
Everybody,
was like a sneaky one because they would do it in a very innocent tone. Like you're the one. That's literally
Ooh,
about fucking cheating with someone else, like someone else's man. Like
exactly, and that's
they
why
were
I'm
they were wild. They were the '90s. Like I went because I'm like going back and listening to a lot of like older albums. I'm like, man, they were wild. Like Like, I can love you better than she can. That's crazy. How dare you say such a statement? Like, what?
Exactly. For her to even say something like that, I mean, it's a good song, but it's just like
It is.
this is like prime Dirty Mac right here, and that's why I'm like, what is Usher talking about? To me, when you talk about Dirty Mackin, it could be insinuated that it's toxic, right? So if you have all these songs before Usher even came on the scene, what it's how does that even connect in your brain that you started this? It just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
I respect that having that big ego to think that you created something, but Usher, calm down. Like,
I think it was honestly, I feel like it might have just been social media like propping that up, that idea up, and it got to him, and he was probably like, "Well, maybe I did create this toxic R&B wave."
Yeah.
I don't think it was just something he automatically thought. I think it was some people just gassing him up, and he was like, "Well, maybe I can put two and two together, and it makes a little bit of sense." And
yeah. It's when you're promoting something, you say some outlandish stuff and then people go check for it. That's literally what it's becoming. I wish honestly we didn't have access to people like we have like access to them when it comes to like these interviews and stuff. Cause they be saying stuff and I'd be like, damn it, I can't listen to these songs the same no more. Cause you be saying stupid things and now I think about it. Like,
I think that's why a lot of people like Beyonce because she's so quiet. So you don't know what she's thinking. You don't know what she has going on. It's like the mysterious element is what drives people to these certain celebrities because like you want to know what's going on, but you literally can't, and the mystery kind of fills the void. So yeah, I think a lot of people do talk too much. It's just like you're ruining it for me right now. Just be quiet. Just let people listen to the music. But the minute they open their mouth, the whole thing is ruined. Like
Summer Walker's
completely.
like that. Anytime I'm like, Summer, please stop talking. Please, please don't say another thing. I listen to your vinyl every day almost for a whole in December. Listen to that vinyl every day. Please don't say anything, Summer. Don't talk. Do not talk.
It's just better
Ruining.
to just stay quiet. But with the age of social media, everyone feels like they need to give a think piece. So, and that includes celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like everyone feel like they need to talk about everything, and it's just like, no, you don't. It is okay to be private. It is okay to keep your thoughts to yourself, especially if you're on that type of stature. Like the minute you say something that a lot of people will agree with, you didn't put yourself in a hot seat for no reason. So might as well just be quiet and just let people listen to the music and assume your ideologies from that instead of you opening your big mouth and ruin it for everyone.
So we
So
don't get no interviews from Beyonce. She's not gonna give us anything because if she say something, I'm like, no, because she probably got some views that we ain't gonna agree with. But please don't. I don't
exactly.
need her to ruin it. Don't ruin your image for some likes and some retweets. Not worth it. But what do you think about the current state of R&B then? When you say it's in like a good state right now?
I think it's in a really good state. Like just like from what I'm seeing, I follow like the Yams page on Instagram, and it's like an R&B page, and this put me on to a lot of great R&B talent. I think it's really good, man, because there's a lot of people in a lot of different lanes. Like you got Jordan Ward, you got what's his name, Dustin Conrad or Destin Conrad, whatever
Destiny.
his name. Um, I mean, you got the ladies, you got Coco Jones, you got Cleo Soul, shit, you got Victoria Monet, you got Tinashe doing her fucking thing. Like, there's just a lot of waves out there that I feel like we're seeing now, and we're seeing like these like bursts of different styles and subgenres being into R&B, and I really think this can be like the just the beginning of something great, again in this genre, because that was kind of missing like towards the latter part of the 2000s or early 2010s. The R&B wave kind of didn't really have a lot of identity to it. It was kind of lost for a little bit.
yeah. Uh, I would say I agree with Kendall. R&B is in a pretty good state right now. I think what's missing is the push for R&B. How it was, like in the 80s and 90s. R&B was kind of like the genre. So it's like you heard about it more, or like radio play, on TV, like, movies and stuff like that. So it's like now it's like hip hop has taken over that predecessor of R&B. So to me, R&B is really good because I like R&B, so I'm like still in that community, but it's still going strong. I just don't think it's being as pushed or as mass appealed as it was, 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago. So
Ooh. So why would you say? What do you think is the reason why it's not being pushed as it used to be pushed? I know hip hop plays a part into why it's not being as pushed as much, but like for instance, for me, people think I listen to like a lot of hip hop. I listen to way more R&B than I do like a rap. But I personally don't know why it's not being pushed. Do you think you have a like? What reason would you say it's not being pushed as much?
um that's a good question because it's just like to me it's just like R&B is still good. There's
Hmm.
new acts, there's good albums out there, so I don't know why it's not being as pushed. It might have to do with just like the people who are listening to R&B. Even for like myself, like me and my friends listen to R&B, but go on the street and ask 10 strangers like around our age, like, hey, do you listen to R&B? They might say no. And so I think the main audience for R&B is getting a little bit older, so they're not checking for it as much versus people, let's just say Gen Z, they're listening more to hip hop or pop or whatever other genre. So that's where like the focus is. So that could be it, but honestly, that is a good question. I really don't know because I mean I listen to R&B, so I can't really speak on
Yeah,
why I wouldn't listen to it as opposed to someone who does. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't even know why, because the people I talk to, they listen to a lot of R&B. So I guess I don't know like the people outside of my circle who aren't listening to R&B, because like I'll go to an R&B concert by myself. Like I'm that type of like, oh y'all don't want to go? Oh, Anthony Hamilton playing, I'm going. Like
Right.
Mm.
cool, y'all don't want to go? You just saved me $70. Like cool. Like so I don't know. Like this is a question that I've been thinking about. Like I've been thinking about making a video, but I'm like I honestly don't know why. So
Well, I think R&B is like, this is my little theory, but I think a lot of it is because R&B is still very black. Like hip
mm,
hop now is like, yeah, it's like black and it'll always be black, but there's a lot more like, I guess, people that don't appreciate the culture. Like people in R&B, like R&B lovers, R&B connoisseurs, they don't play about, people like appropriating. They don't play about, people that just play with R&B, people from other cultures and other races that just play with R&B. Like you can see like JoJo, like she makes R&B music, but people respect her because she respects the genre and the people that came before her. She don't be doing all this crazy like flip flopping like you would see in hip hop with like the Iggy Azaleas and the Post Malones and they don't be doing stuff like that.
Yeah. That's a good
Kendall,
point.
I'm just taking that whole take and I'm going to make a video. I'm just letting you know right now. I'm stealing that whole exact.
Oh
I'm wording
wow.
it the same exact way too.
You
That
can
is
go ahead,
really good.
man.
That is a really good point. Like R&B is, I wouldn't say it's more respected than hip hop, but like Kendall said, like the people in the R&B realm, they don't play about that. Like you come over here, you're gonna respect it. You're gonna respect what we've done before. You're gonna respect what we're doing now. Versus hip hop is kind of more, I guess you would say, accepting to new faces. Whether that's culture or just even, you know, non-black people. So it's like, yeah, like it's more accepting to cross over in hip hop than most people would do in R&B. So that is a good point. Like I do think it has something to do with like who's actually coming in to the R&B. But I have noticed that people who do listen to R&B now are listening to the more toxic people. So like Brent Fayez. So
Yeah,
it's like, why is that? Like, like why would you want why are you more drawn to someone like Brent Fayez, but you're not drawn to someone like Tinashe? So I don't know.
Yeah, that's something that I don't know. Like I'm always confused on like the certain people that they listen to. Cause like Tinashe, well, and I'm from California, so she's been big here. But I'm like, why is she not as big as like a SZA, for instance? Cause I'm like, Tinashe has the stereotypical look that they want. She be dancing. She got the hits. Why isn't
Mhm.
she in these conversations as a SZA? Why is Ari Lennox not in these conversations with SZA? Like certain things like that always make me be like, I don't understand it. R&B being mostly like the fans of R&B are mostly black. That probably plays a huge part. I never really thought about that because I only really associate with black people. So I guess that does play a part into R&B not being as big as hip hop. Because like there's no Eminem in R&B. There will probably
Mhm.
never be an Eminem in R&B. I don't think there can be an Eminem in R&B because
Nope.
they don't have the. Ooh, I can't say that. They don't come. They don't have the experience. Because I was gonna say some ignorant stuff. I can't say that. I can say it off, but they don't. They're missing an element. You know what I'm saying? And as you can't just take R&B and stay for a day. You can't Post Malone it. Like you can't
Mhm.
have an R&B hit and then like go on to a different genre. Just just cause there's no White Iverson in R&B.
Yeah.
There will never be. I'm still in that whole take Kendall. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and like everybody that I know who was a different color that did R&B was respected because they did it. They were authentically themselves, and they did it, and they respected the culture, the entire culture, while they were doing it. Like you think of John B, you think of Tina Marie, think of JoJo, like all these people, like they never faked it. They never like they really did their homework and they really studied the craft of the greats that came before them, and that's why they were accepted because they put in the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when people have tried to do, I think of Justin Timberlake. He literally tried to do what Post Malone did. And then he dropped that trash album. Nobody was checking for it because
Yeah,
he tried to do that and it doesn't work with R&B. You can't do it.
I think if there was a close resemblance to like a Post Malone and R&B, it would be him. I will say his first three albums are really good.
Oh,
They're really damn good.
they are.
But
There's a
I
common
think
element in that too, though. He worked
yeah,
with.
there's people in those albums that he worked with that was a common element. But I feel like after the 2020 experience, when he stopped working with certain people or wasn't working with them as much and tried to change his sound, but still tried to keep that R&B relevancy, it just didn't work. Like Justin Timberlake, a R&B album in 2024, we saw it didn't work.
Did not.
And you got people still like very unforgiving of what he put Janet Jackson through. So it's like the black
Mm,
community it's a very conflicted about Justin Timberlake,
that's
and they
very true.
always will be.
Even with like Robin Thicke, like before the blurred lines thing and then like the whole Paula Patton situation, I feel like a lot of people liked Robin Thicke. Like they liked
Mm-hmm.
his music, but then, that stuff came out and that kind of, like dwindled his career a little bit. But I feel like he was a person that people respected as well because he came in and he kind of, did what he needed to do, had some good songs and stuff like that, but then, he ruined it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I never really, you know what it is with him? Because he had Paula Patton, I respected it. I was like, oh, if you can bag Paula Patton, like there's something that you're doing that's like stamped. Because if she giving you the stamp of approval, she can have whatever she wants. Like at that time too, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you must be like down with us. Like that's what I thought. But
Mm-hmm.
then the more information came out because of social media, then I stopped. I'm like, nah,
yeah.
nah. Before Blur Lines, I was already done with him. Like
Mm-hmm. A
so.
lot of I see, and with him, he got a lot of respect because he wrote and produced for like a lot of like R&B titans. So he was
Mhm.
very nice with the pen, on the boards, and that kind of like put him on a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't he like write for Usher?
I'm sure, like I gotta look it up, but I know he's written and produced for a lot of people.
Hmm. So what? Okay, I'm going. I'm not even gonna look at the I'm going off of the outline. So so do y'all have any like I guess R&B artists that y'all think need to get more love, more attention?
Ari Lennox.
Current or it can be like an older artist.
Uh, Ari Lennox, Tinashe, Seven Streeter. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, Pen Game's elite.
Yeah, them three, them three. Yeah.
Um, I'd say Tiana Taylor should be in that discussion too. Like she has some good shit, and like for me to see, like I think when she said she was leaving music, it was very saddening, but it wasn't very surprising because just her being in that good music like collective, I feel like Kanye just never really knew what to do with her. I feel like he always kind of just downplayed her talent. Like he didn't push her as much. And I was like, I felt like she didn't deserve that because she's extremely talented.
I
Yeah.
agree. I think they well, I think Kanye's gonna choose Kanye first. That's number one.
Mhm.
But I don't think he knows what to do with the R&B act at all. Because I
Yeah.
don't think he did good with John Legend either, to be honest. We just know John Legend because he's been around for a while. But like none of
Mhm.
his albums, I was like hearing anything about him. I had to like research, like, oh, John Legend dropped? That's
Oh.
crazy. Didn't even know. Like Kanye didn't really he don't push none of his artists though. If I'm thinking about it now, like even when Big Sean was on the label, he wasn't pushing Big Sean. He wasn't pushing Common. He
Mhm.
wasn't pushing anybody but probably Pusha T because Pusha T was pushing Drake, so you kind of have to talk about him. But
Yeah.
I don't think that certain people know what to do with Tiana Taylor's talent because Pharrell didn't know what to do with her either.
Oh yeah.
They don't. I don't think they know what to do with her talent because she's so versatile, and
Extremely
it's
versatile.
like,
Yeah.
what do we do with this? She doesn't have the look that like she's not lighter skin and she's not like super thick. So she doesn't have the look that they're like looking for. Like
Mhm.
she doesn't have the scissor look, but she also doesn't have the Doja Cat look. And
Yeah,
then
that's a
she's
good
like
point.
never turned down her blackness either. Like
Gotcha.
Yeah.
she's always her. Every room she's in, I'm like, oh, that's Tiana Taylor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I
I feel
think
like
that plays a part.
she's to well, I mean, I think to us, like she's a very beautiful woman. She has a great
Oh
voice.
yeah.
Also, the stuff she's doing with the choreography right now, that's pretty fire. So I'm just like, she's like a well-rounded talent that kind of got lost in the mist. Is like the best way I can explain it because it's just like she has the talent, she has the qualifications to be a big star. It's just like y'all were saying, like no one knew what to do and push her. So I like the lane that she's going into right now, and I think that's her niche, and I think that she should stay where she is. Like I do think she should drop music, periodically, because like if that's something she likes to do, then still do it. But the lane that she's in right now, like I really like it, and I can see how she's shaping the choreography, especially with Lola Brooke. I think she helped her do some choreography for like a performance she had. And the performance was really good. Because
Mhm.
a lot of people talk about rappers have bad stage performances. So then Tiana Taylor comes in, and it was good. I thought it was good. So it's just like what she's doing now is helping more than what she actually probably even realizes, really. So
Yeah.
I like the way I like what she's doing right now. It's sad that she quit music, and I really hope that she takes that back. But she's an all around talent for me.
I don't know if like how am I gonna if I'm your top consumer, like people like me are the ones who are supporting you, you're probably not going to be successful because you don't really need to get me like I'm a fan of R&B. I'm always going to be there. If it's dope, I'm there. So
Mhm.
you need to find a way to reel in like, and I hate to say it, white people. Um,
Yeah. After a
if
certain point.
you can't just eat off of me. Like you need white people to be at your shows. You need like white people to buy your music. You need a single that's going to make white artists play in their car. Like
Yeah.
you need something.
I mean, even with Victoria Monet, like before like the year she had, like she was like she herself was still like very like prevalent and very she had like a very black fan base. But I think what helped her in addition was like writing for Ariana Grande. Like she had that pop element, like she had that bag in her to kind of like attract that white audience. And that's how, she was able to cross over. And then she had On My Mama, which was, a still very black song, but it crossed over into other audiences. And that kind of helped get her over the hump.
Yeah. That's what I would say made her, honestly, social media helped her. So social media is the instance where it actually helped her because All My Mama was out for a while before it blew up. Like I had that on my phone for a while before it blew up. And it was because TikTok and then white women kind of once they got a hold to it, that's how you know you crossed over. Because black women was already dancing to it.
Oh,
They was
yeah.
already doing the whole thing. Got one white woman got a hold to it. The song blew up. Victoria Monet is already a baddie. Boom, perfect. It took off.
Yeah.
But
Same
it took 10 years. It took 10 years. She's been putting out hits for 10 years. It took 10 years for her to blow up.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, same with SZA. Like she kind of pivoted herself into a wider audience, and now SZA's like probably the number one R&B girly right now, probably. So it's
literally
just
headlining like every fucking festival.
exactly. So it's just like she did what she had to do. But the thing is, like, what is the difference between SZA and someone like Victoria Monet? They both very much sound like us, and SZA is appealing to a wider audience, but Victoria Monet is not. And that's kind of like, what is the difference between them? Like, and that's kind of like the funny part about the music industry and stuff like that, because it's just like, to me, they're not the same, but in terms of like their quality, I think it's pretty much up there. Like SZA has great bodies of work, Victoria has great bodies of work. They both are very beautiful women. Like, what is the difference? Like, and SZA still sounds very much black to me. So it's just like, what pivots SZA, and what did SZA do to get her there versus what did Victoria Monet do to not get her there as
Well,
soon as quicker as SZA did?
well, I think SZA had, well, she had TDE number one, like,
Mm.
because at a point TDE was the biggest label out. Like nobody was touching them. I still think they're fire now, but like they had Kendrick, Schoolboy Q, um, the whole Black Hippie really when they were at the height, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then SZA came like right after, and
And
she got
SZA King,
songs. She got what's that one song with Travis Scott?
Love
I love
Galore.
Travis Scott. She got
Oh yeah.
the crossover songs, and she has the artists that they're familiar with. Victoria
Yeah.
Monet don't have a song with like somebody like she's literally R&B. She's not
Mm.
pop. Like SZA got pop songs. Victoria Monet don't. I think her songs are all R&B. Like
Yeah.
that's why
At
I'm
least at least
surprised she's at.
fused in it because she has songs with like Kaytranada and stuff. So she kind of
Oh, she
like
does. Yeah.
dive. She kind of like dive, and she has a song with Khalid too that's really good. So she kind of like dives into different pockets, and I think that I always love when artists do that, but I feel like with SZA, I feel like she kind of like concentrated into a certain lane, and she was able to, and since she was on TV as well, she was able to kind of,
Mhm.
you know, go where she needed to go. I feel like Victoria, she was kind of, it took a little bit longer to kind of figure herself out because she was in different phases in her career. Like the music that she was making 4 or 5 years ago is somewhat the same, but still a little bit different than what she was making now.
Yeah, especially because when she was on Rihanna's album, I think it's like the opening track, like that also pushed SZA into other
Oh,
audience.
anti. She's
Like
on anti. It
Rihanna's
was
huge, right? Like everybody likes Rihanna. Rihanna's familiar in almost every culture.
everybody
Then you
loves
have
her.
this girl on your song, and it sounds good. So now people are like, "Who is this girl?" And then I think literally the year after that, Control dropped. So it's
Hmm.
just like she played it so well to where it's just like, yeah, like I was on Rihanna's album, and now I have my own album, and it took off. Like
Yeah. Because SZA had stuff before the Rihanna
yeah,
album.
Hmm.
exactly. But that
What's
was like
that
the
song?
moment. The
Child's Play. She had Child's Play with Chance the Rapper. I think honestly, what's that song now? I think it's called Consideration. I
yeah, the
think
Rihanna.
the Rihanna song, but that song sounds like a SZA song. So once you hear that song, and then she's giving us a whole album that kind of sounds like that, take off. You can't.
Exactly.
And then she had the whole TDE machine behind her.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
just when it comes down to it, I feel like just she had a better machine to push her than Victoria Monet, because Victoria Monet, same with like what's his name, Money Long,
mm-hmm.
Mooney Long, um, they had to bust their ass writing hits for years, and even I think Victoria Monet had talked about like even when she had proved herself, she was still having to like fund her own like different stuff like tours and all that type of stuff. Like she still had to do it on her own,
Yeah.
even when she proved that she could like have like major label backing and stuff.
Even Money Long, like she like switched her name and did all these other type of things before people
Mm-hmm.
recognized her. It's kind of crazy. Like you can see talent and then like, oh, why is everybody not recognizing this? Why is this person in a place and they make the same type of music? They're just as good. I always question it,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, again, if I'm your main fan base, meaning like black people, you're not going you're not gonna do well. You gotta get unfortunate. I wish you didn't have to, but you need white people to buy your stuff.
Yeah.
Because like when you go to concerts, like unless you're in a city like DC or Atlanta or Houston, like your fans are gonna all be white. Like, and I go to concerts out here, 75% white.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every show, no matter if it's hip hop, R&B. So you gotta appeal to them. But
I guess it really depends also because so I went to this festival called Honeyland Fest. It was like the first one ever, and it was in Houston. It was in November. Black, just completely like I promise you, I probably saw like four non-black people there. The entire it was a 2 day festival. That entire 2 days, I probably saw four non-black people there. But they also had very black artists. Like Mary J. Blige was like one of the headliners.
oh
So
yeah,
it's just like like yeah, people like that. Oh, also Miguel was there. So it's just like you have those type of people who are, in their niche of, I guess, the pocket of black people. But it's funny because like Mary J. Blige is really big to me, yeah, Mary J. Blige is.
Hell yeah.
So it's just
I'm
like,
black.
but the thing is, Mary J. Blige music is very black. So how did she cross over? Especially because she had that bad deal with Diddy. Well, she got out of that. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's just really it really does depend on the person because Mary J. Blige is very black and she has a very big fan base. So I guess it
Yeah,
just really.
but I also think you're in like Houston. There's a lot of black people. Like
Yeah.
so you can do that in Houston. You can do that in Atlanta. You can do that in DC.
Yeah.
There are not too many places where else you can do it.
I think like so I don't want to like confuse anything or what I was thinking before, but I think like you can still be successful and still have a primarily black fan base. But I
Hmm.
feel like after a certain point, if you want to get to the highest of highs, if you want to get to that like top dog, like you want to be up there with the Beyoncés and the Adeles and the Taylor Swifts and the Drakes, you got to have some snow in that palette.
You absolutely. You
Yeah.
can't. You can't. Uh, which is why. Which is probably why R&B is not pushed more. Brought that shit back. Look at that. Um, all right. So before we get out of here, I want to know. I got two questions. What is your Mount Rushmore of R&B? This is your Mount Rushmore too. I don't care. Like if you got Mary J. Blige on there, I wouldn't. But that's okay. It's your Mount Rushmore. So
Um,
whoever wants to go first.
uh, I'll go
I mean,
first.
albums that got to be four.
So Mount Rushmore of R&B artists.
Oh,
If you
R&B
want to do
artists.
albums, you can do albums, but albums was too hard for me to do. I
Yeah.
was
It's
literally
hard to
trying to
do.
do it, and I
It's
wrote
hard to
like
do
20
people.
albums, so I said, hell no.
Hmm.
It's hard to even do people because there's so many pivotal people in the R&B space that they deserve a spot on the Mount Rushmore. Fuck. I think I think Babyface should be one if that counts.
Oh, that's a good one.
I feel like you really can't have a conversation about R&B without mentioning him at some point. He's
At
that pivotal.
all. At
Um,
all.
I'm gonna go with Brandy also because I mean she's the vocal Bible. Enough said. Um, hey, I don't. This is so hard because I truly feel like so many people deserve to be there. Babyface, Brandy. Would y'all consider Whitney R&B? She's not like she's pop.
I put her in
I think
R&B.
I think
She's
yeah, I think
R&B.
she see, and the thing about like someone like Whitney, even Prince and that Michael Jackson, like those realm of artists, they were transcendent of that. They were transcendent of everything.
That's why I'm
So
like,
it's
where do
like
you place them?
so
I
it's like
put
do
Whitney
we
in R&B because she can dabble in both. So I have a hard time separating the pop and R&B. Because certain artists they do like even I'll throw Beyonce for example. Beyonce when she first came out was pop as hell, but like her last couple albums have been more R&B. So where do I put her? So I just throw pop and R&B all into one, and I don't care. Like it's normally my list, so I don't care what people really think. So that's how I do it. So if you want to throw Whitney in there, throw her in there.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so Brandy, Babyface, Whitney. Now the last spot, I don't know because there's just a lot of people you really can put up there. Like, oh my gosh, I have no idea. Um, Sheesh. Because I mean, people could say Usher. You could say Janet. Hell, you can even say Luther Vandross. That's why I'm like, it's
Hell
so
yeah.
like it's. I don't know.
Do you want
I
me to give? I can give my four and let y'all think about it.
yeah
Oh,
yeah.
I can try to give um I don't know if we excluding groups or including groups.
It's your
Um
four. You do it how you want to do it.
I'm gonna put New Edition in there regardless. Um
The
Shit,
original
because
New
just like
Edition or like with all of them.
I'm put all of I'm look you look at their like
Yeah.
scope and list of music like together and solo, like that was a very distinct group where every member or collective or the people in the group had success individually, and then they came back and they still had success. You don't see that a lot. So I'll definitely put them. I'm going to put in terms of R&B, Mount Rushmore. It's really interesting to try to like think of like before when we think of like the Whitneys and the MJs and stuff like that, because like I would put Sade in there, but it's like where do you put Sade? Because it's like is it like neo soul, is it like you
Yeah.
know
It's blended
uh
in.
it's like really like that. It's a really fine line. um I'm gonna put Marvin Gaye in there,
Oh
even
yeah.
though like R&B and soul, it's like they're different, but they're the same thing at the same time. Um, um, and I'm also going to put, hmm, I'm gonna put Brandy in there as well. Cause shit, like I was listening to the Boys Mind album. I'm like, bruh, this girl was fucking 18, 19, sounding like this, putting out perfection like this. She was like 22, 23 when she put out Full Moon. Like, come on.
How many was that? Was that four? Who was your four?
So I did New Edition,
Uh,
Sade, Marvin Gaye, and Brandy.
Damn, that's a strong ass 4.
That is a heavy ass 4 actually. Good. Okay. Oh, I don't know about my 4th spot because that can go to so many people.
All right, I'm gonna give you mine. I'm gonna give you some more time. So mine, number 1 is Marvin Gaye. I think Marvin Gaye is the greatest to ever do it, like hands down. He got some controversy though. I'm not gonna act like he ain't got no controversy. There's a lot with Marvin Gaye. Stevie Wonder. Like,
See that, and that's the thing. Like, where's the like? It's too blended. Like that's how I was thinking about saying Stevie, but it's just like okay, like would you put him in R&B? Are you saying funk? Are you saying soul? Like what? Like
He could do everything. Like that's the thing
Stevie
about
is
Stevie. He could do
literally
everything.
so
the
hard to
genre.
place.
Like he literally changed everything. Like
He should have his own genre. It should just be
exactly.
Stevie. It should literally just be Stevie. He could
Yeah.
just literally play instruments and not sing a single word, and I'll be like, it's a fucking classic.
Mhm.
I throw Beyonce in there because of her influence. Like we obviously weren't around for Michael Jackson's peak, but when I think about somebody like who have people fainting and shit like that, I think of like Beyonce. Like when I saw her on the Renaissance tour, there was people literally like about to faint before she even came out, and it
Mm.
took her like an hour and a half to come out.
That's
Like
crazy.
people were like losing her goddamn mind. And when she came out, I couldn't even hear a goddamn word that she was saying when she was trying to sing Dangerously in Love because it was so loud and my ears like damn near popped. Like it was crazy. I've never seen anything like that. And then her catalog is just crazy. This last spot, I gave it to Usher. I really didn't want to give it to Usher. Um, I wanted to give it to somebody else. I wanted to give it to Raphael Sadiq.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, bro.
But I gave it to Usher because of Confessions. But Raphael Sadiq, like his influence,
Exactly.
just alone,
Like just Tony by themselves. Like
alone,
Yeah.
like, and then his pen game is elite,
mhm.
elite. He all over. He be on Beyonce's album.
Yeah, he was on the last Beyonce album.
I think
And
he was on the last 2 Beyonce's album.
yeah.
I think he did Cuff It. And I think he did what's that song? I think he might have did Bodyguard. I don't know if he did Bodyguard of Cowboy Carter, but that sounds like a Raphael Sadiq joint. If I've heard one. So I should Google it. If I'm right, I'm gonna be hella happy. But yeah, that's my 4. I'm gonna throw Usher, Beyonce, Stevie, and Marvin Gaye.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with Babyface, Brandy, Whitney, and I'm gonna go the same route that you just did with Raphael Sadiq. So I'm gonna say The Dream only because I feel like his first off his pen. Let's just talk about his pen for a second. His
Mhm.
pen is pretty much undeniable at this point. I mean, it's been that way, but like at this point, come on. The amount of hits that this man has produced, and the fact that there's so many people who don't even know the songs that he's written on is insane. Like I actually have a playlist just for songs and songs that he's produced and written on. That's it. Just straight the Dream associated songs.
I
So I
mean,
would definitely give it to him if I had to give it to someone a little bit more on the current side because his production and his pen at this point, he up there.
you could
So
literally do a songwriter's like, ooh, I was right.
okay,
You could do a songwriters like you got Raphael Sadiq, you got Babyface, what D Mile, um, Dream. Shit, there's so many like.
Mhm.
like there's so many people
Ooh,
who you can just put in the top 4, but I'm gonna just go with Brandy, Babyface, Whitney, and The Dream.
see,
But
it's
like
easier.
honestly, you can change the entire list up yourself.
Yeah, we should
So
have did it. I should have did an era, because that would have made it way
yeah,
easier. Because I would have been like an era, like '90s. Because honestly, going back and it's you feel like you're discrediting somebody by leaving them off,
exactly.
Mhm.
even though you're not trying to do that. That's
Mhm.
why I say your personal like 4 because I don't need like people being like but what about this person? What, you can do that like
Oh
for
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Like Sade. You threw Sade out there. I didn't even have her written down.
I wasn't even thinking Sade.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's so
I'm
many
just
people.
I'm just obsessed, so that's why I mentioned her.
Oh, speaking of Sade, apparently all of her albums are getting repressed.
Oh
So
Are
wow.
they?
hop in those.
They
Yeah,
they
but
about to be hella expensive.
I hope not. I hope not. I don't have any Sade records.
You don't have you. You can find them online. That was just very cheap too. I think I got Diamond Life for.
I'm
I
trying to
got
wait
that
till
one.
record store day. And
Hmm?
that's on the record store day. That's on the 20th.
Yeah, I
Like,
got my list. Like it's literally right here.
yeah, I'm like,
Damn, y'all be serious with this, man.
Hey man, I don't buy
serious?
anything. I don't buy anything like crazy. So I'm like, I just buy records.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't buy shoes. Like I wear the same shoes to work because I'm not wearing my good shoes to work because these kids step on my shoes. Like I just buy records.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like that's like if I had to pick like a guilt, yeah, mine's is records and books. Everything else is just like I'll buy it, but it's not gonna rack up in the price if that makes sense.
I just
It's
bought
not
a
going down
book
the
too. I'm
but
trying to get back into reading. It's just I don't have the time. And I don't like reading nonfiction either. So that's the thing. There's not a like I like reading like
real.
shit that don't relate to my life. So
Mhm.
it's hard. It's hard. But I'm trying to get back into it. But also I have access to books like for free, pretty much. Because I'm at a school. I can just be like, hey, can you guys order this book and get it to the library? They'll order it. So I don't need to buy anything. It's not like I don't live in a state where they are restricting books either. So we have
Mm.
a bigger access. But
Yeah.
Kendall, start with the bargain bin of vinyls. You got to get
Oh yeah, the
started.
dollar bean.
They have a dollar bin. That's how I was doing it. And
Okay.
then, and then you can work your way. Because I bought records before I even had a record player,
Oh wow.
and I was gifted my first vinyl. I was gifted, and then Urban Outfitters before they became like the hipster place. They used to have vinyls for like cheap. I got a DMX vinyl for $5.
Oh wow.
I got Redman for $5, and then there was another one.
Wow.
Boy,
I
this
think it was
must have been
Nas.
when was this? This must have been way a long
This
time ago.
was I don't want to say the year because I don't feel like an old man, but it was definitely 2015, 14, 2014.
Mm.
But like I didn't have a record player. I just had the records.
You
And then
see,
like
I had a record player and I had a couple records, but it's just like I never played them because I'm just like so used to playing everything like digitally. I was just like, what is the point? Like I had like 3 or 4 records and I'll be like, I feel like I feel like someone could use these a little more than I
yeah,
can. So
it's an expensive ass habit. I will say that. It's very expensive. And I don't like ordering records online because I've had like issues. Like I'm literally waiting on a vinyl that I ordered on July 4th from last year. They haven't sent me a tracking information. They haven't sent me anything.
mm,
In fact, when I emailed them, the lady, like I read it in her tone that she sent it to me. She was like, you could get a refund if you want it. Like, we don't have any information for you. And I'm like, you know what? I wanted the vinyl so bad though, but I'm about to cancel it because it's been too long. Like, they haven't sent a follow up email, nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have
right.
patience. But
I actually need to go check my mailbox. I had ordered Chasing Summer. It got repressed, and I was like, I have to get it because like on Discogs, it was like running up to like $200.
like, they repressed Sir, like the Sir album.
Yeah, Chasing
Oh
Summer.
shit!
Yeah, they repressed it, and so I got it before it sold out again. So I need to go check my mailbox actually to see if it's in
We're
there.
gonna get off of Hold on, let me ask this one question before we get out of here because these people about to come over too. Um, if y'all can recommend 3 R&B projects, I'm gonna just say 3 R&B projects to somebody who's trying to get into the genre, what would be the 3 projects you recommend?
Can it from any era?
Any era.
Confessions, obviously. I feel like that's the safest pick of R&B, like especially if you're like someone who's in the middle, like something not too old, but it's not too new either. So Confessions. Um, I think It's About Time by SWV. I think that's their debut album. Really good, especially if you're a person who wants to get into like groups. And then uh, maybe Brown Sugar by D'Angelo.
Hmm.
I really like that album. It's one of my personal favorites. So yeah, D'Angelo. Those 3.
Solid 3.
Yeah, that's a good one. My first pick is gonna be the Don't Be Cruel Bobby Brown album.
Ooh, yeah.
Just because that song, like that album was just so transcendent. Like it's basically like a Bobby Brown greatest hits album, because like you don't know any other Bobby Brown song from like maybe from the Bobby album, the next album, but like most of his popular songs are on that album. And like that was an album where the whole entire album would get played relentlessly. So I feel like chances are, even if you aren't an R&B fan, you probably already heard these songs already, and then you're like, oh, I really like this song. Where are some other songs like it? It's going to be on the album. So that I would say, is a pick. Another one would probably be I would probably say Velvet Rope, the Janet
Ooh.
Jackson Velvet Rope.
I like
Um just because if I want to recommend it to people who like are trying to get into R&B, but they don't want to get too deep into it. They still want to get in some pop, but they also want to hear some like, some dance music in there, a little, you know what I'm saying? They want to hear like different vibes in there. So I think Velvet Rope does a good job of that. Um and the last one, I want to do a current one. I just gotta look at my phone right quick. I just gotta see it.
I have one in my head that I think you might say. Well, I don't think you'll say it, but it's pretty current.
Current one? I'm curious this current one you gonna say, to be honest.
I'm just like,
How current is current to you? Like the past decade?
yeah, probably somewhere after like 2012 or something like that.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like the last couple of years. I was like,
Mm-hmm. Let me see what. Because I know there's been a few that I've played. Honestly,
There's a lot of current albums I would probably recommend to people.
oh my god, I am not seeing anything. Oh, these are old. Let me.
I forgot the week Future dropped his album.
Oh yeah.
With Metro.
I literally tweeted. I was like, someone.
Oh shit. Seat at the table, Solange.
That's
There we
literally what I
go.
was thinking.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's literally
damn,
what I
like
was thinking. I was like, I think you're gonna say this.
I knew you
I
were
was like,
gonna. I was like, he's not gonna say that. Once you said current, but
because like I was like, man, I really want to do something kind of. I was like, I know there's some current stuff that I really like and I really would recommend. But I say A Seat at the Table.
it's one of my favorite albums.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorite albums ever. I love that album. I don't know if that album, it just hits so, especially for Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. All right. We're gonna wrap this up though. Follow both of them. Kendall be doing these lives. He haven't done as much. I be participating in live. I come home from work and I'm like, all right, he's gonna have some music on there. He be playing music. He be having conversation. Autumn is the biggest Kendrick fan. So y'all better don't say nothing about Kendrick because she got the smoke for y'all. Follow both of them. Their information will be in the bio. Thank y'all for being on here, and I will catch y'all next time. Peace out. Now, I couldn't leave without giving y'all the song of the week. Song of the week is Luna Elle, Flaws.
I know you ain't perfect, but maybe you're the one who can love me, I deserve it. So please don't fuck this up. Maybe you're not worth it, and maybe I'm too much. We could work so well, but we could also fall apart. Don't we just give each other a chance to let all our imperfections just vanish? Can't we look past our flaws? You can look past mine, and I can look past your flaws.
And that was Luna Elle, Flaws. Now, thank you to Kendall and Autumn again for being on. And we'll catch y'all next week with another dope pod to step to. I've been your host, Jamal Radio Raheem, and I'll catch y'all when I catch y'all. Peace out.
Baby, baby, baby.